Hey everybody, Ray Davenport, your Director of Sports Performance, and today I want to look at 3 of our Rotary centers and the way it might be impacting your ability to move. We're going to talk about the shoulders, we're going to talk about the thoracic spine, and we're going to take a look at the hips. Things you'll need: a chair, hopefully you got a foam roller at home or some other mobility device, and then a mat. So let's get started. All right, so we've got our chair. The first thing we're going to look at are the hips, and we're going to work our way up. Okay, so to test internal rotation at the hip, all we're going to do is sit nice and tall. We're going to lift one foot up. I like to hold this knee with my offhand just a little bit to keep it from going out on me. We're trying to keep it as still as possible. And what we're going to try to do is take our foot out to the side as far as we can. Now, depending on your level of restriction or weakness, you may feel a pretty good pinch in that hip. Really nice if you can get video of this, as you can refer back to it as we try to work on that. Okay, so let's do that. That looks pretty good. Going to the other side, maybe a little tougher from one side to the other. That's okay. Asymmetries are inherent in life. So lift that foot just out and then coming back. Okay, that's the way to test it, and from here we'll go into ways that we can improve it. All right, so we've tested our internal rotation of the hip sitting on the box. We found that we're a little restricted. So the way we're going to attack it, I've got a little crossball here. Now, certainly you don't have to do the soft tissue work to get the benefit of the exercise we're going to do. But if you use this on your TFL, your tensor fasciae lata, it's this muscle that sits right between the iliac crest of the pelvis and your greater trochanter, where that ball is at the top of your femur. Kind of call it the pocket muscle. We would lay on that side and just try to target those muscles that you could feel if you were up doing internal rotation. Working hard. The goal is to do 30 to 60 seconds, maybe even as long as 2 minutes, trying to release any tension in that hip. Okay, now once you've done that, I'm going to abbreviate it for purposes of this video. Once you've done that, one of the exercises that I prescribe to a lot of people is internal rotation of the hip and external rotation of the hip. I'm going to do it from this modified kind of 90-90 box position. You can see ideally my hips, and I'll square up with the camera here. Ideally, we've got these lines on the floor. Ideally, my hips are in a straight line. My knee is straight out from the hip, foot straight out from that knee. So we've got this nice little box here. We're going to take each point, knee, foot, and we're going to work through full range of motion within this position, trying to maintain a nice stable core. So I'm going to lift this knee first. You just saw me do that. And then we're going to try to lift this foot off the ground. It's okay if it doesn't go very far. This is just going to be trying to wake up those muscles that control that hip rotation. Then we're going to go to the back leg again, trying not to shift too much weight, just isolating the hip muscles. And then we're going to lean just a little bit and try to lift that back foot off the ground. Now this is going to be the big one, this hip internal rotation. Even though we're doing internal and external, the one we're looking at the most is that last point on that back foot. I'm going to go through this rotation maybe 4 or 5 times, being very deliberate, holding it in range for just a second, and then done daily, maybe even twice per day. This exercise should help you access a little more range. We're going to speed through this one real quick, just speed up the video, and we'll check back in with our retest here in just a moment. Moment of truth, we've worked on those muscles in the hip. We're hoping to have gained a little bit of internal rotation, but no sweat if not. It takes some time. It's going to take practice and strengthening of those muscles over time to really improve truly. So here you can see not much more, but even a degree or two might not be noticeable, is going to be super beneficial in the long run. Okay, so up next we're going to look at the thoracic spine. The way we're going to test this: find a chair, sit near the edge, sit nice and tall, feet are together, arms are going to cross just in case we have some shoulder restriction, and our objective is to turn as far as we can without manipulating our lower body position. Okay, so where I want you to feel it, a little bit in the trunk, and then feeling a good stretch in the back, trying to get to end range there. Hips are staying neutral the whole time. We really just need a baseline for this one. 45 degrees technically is our line of acceptability, we'll call it. But our goal today is just to try to see improvement from this baseline test. Now we're going to go into a way that you can improve that thoracic rotation. So if you have your foam roller, go ahead and grab it. All right, so now that we have a baseline for our thoracic spine mobility, our ability to turn those shoulders, we're going to work on trying to loosen it up a little bit and gain a little more range of motion. And the way we're going to do that is through a gentle foam rolling of that thoracic spine. So find your foam roller, come on down to the ground. We're going to position it just between the shoulder blades. Okay, so maybe just at the base of the shoulder blades. Key here, feet flat, and making sure that you can support yourself there. Two ways we can do it to open up and get the scapula out of the way is to, one, give ourselves a big hug. If you need support of the head, you can pop the hands behind the head. And the objective here, right, is to massage the upper back. Again, getting our shoulder blades out of the way. And we're just going to shift weight a little bit side to side and try to go through anywhere from 8 to as many reps as you want to, just to feel good. So again, if that head starts to feel a little bit like it needs support, the only thing is if you are supporting your head with your hands, I want you to drop your elbows in, again, to clear those scapula out of the way. Okay, so broad strokes, spending some time here. And then once we're done there, we just relax the hips back to the ground. Usually aiming for, again, reps, 8 to 20. If you're doing it for time, spending 1 minute to 3 minutes. Usually a minute is plenty to get some noticeable change. So we'll retest and see what kind of difference that makes. All right, so we're back in our chair. We're going to retest after using our foam roller for our back. Finding that feet together position, nice and tall, hips are stable, hands crossed at the shoulders. We're going to go as far as we can. Again, keeping everything nice and steady in the lower body, and as far as we can the other way. Our goal is to just notice a little change. We're not looking for a lot in one day. We didn't get tight and stiff because of one day, generally speaking. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but with your diligent foam rolling and working on this one technique, you will find that you'll have a little more room to move. All right, and the final test, we're going to look at shoulders, right, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video. For this one, we don't need any equipment. We're just going to position ourselves, ideally at a mirror or video camera. Elbow is straight out from our side. We're nice and tall. Core is engaged to keep us from leaning back as we do this exercise. Important to keep that elbow in the same spot and not to open up your chest as we do this. Objective, right, is to rotate back at the shoulder without anything else moving. So find your position, 90 degrees. Try to take that hand back, really keeping a focus on not moving anything else as we do this. And then return. Okay, so we're just going as far, explore that end range. Again, if you have weakness, tightness, you're gonna feel that pinching on the back of the shoulder. That's totally okay. Go ahead and repeat it on the other side. Again, you're gonna see differences from one side to the other. So we've got our baseline for our shoulder, external rotation. What we need to do is practice and work on strengthening that external rotation. So I'm going to move over to the wall and show you exactly what you can do at home in a doorway to start really trying to strengthen the muscles in that teres minor and in those other muscles of the rotator cuff. All right, so you position yourself kind of in a doorway at home or on the corner of a wall. The objective here, right, is to get external rotation of the shoulder in a nice stable braced position standing tall. So going just a little bit beyond the doorway, elbow is almost straight out from the shoulder, maybe a little bit below. And then we're gonna try to take this palm out away from the wall with that elbow maintaining contact. So we're lifting off, squeezing, trying to really contract the muscles in the back of that shoulder, and then relaxing, okay? This is rep-based, and this is a strengthening exercise. Now there are a whole other list of exercises to really strengthen and maintain a healthy rotator cuff, but this is a great place to start and doesn't require any equipment. Give that a shot, see how it feels. You may feel like that muscle's cramping if you're not used to using it a lot, but just work at it, again, daily, maybe even twice a day, really gonna benefit you in the long run from a mobility standpoint in that shoulder. So there you have it, 3 of the primary rotary centers, the hips, the thoracic spine, and the shoulders, and some ways that you can work towards greater mobility in your routine. If you have any questions about these movements that we covered today or how you can implement them in your routine to improve your mobility, please let me know. I'm happy to help you however I can.